Hey everyone, have you ever played with a magnet and wondered about that invisible, almost magical force? Well, today we're going to dive in and explore exactly what makes them tick.
So, let's start with a little story. It's about a girl named Reshma, and she was writing about sailors from way back in the olden days. Now, in Reshma's story, her sailors were in some serious trouble. A massive storm rolled in, and the dark clouds completely covered up the stars. Without those stars to guide them, they were totally lost. How in the world were they going to find their way back home?
Reshma really had to think about this. It's a tough one, right? I mean, how do you find your way when you're in the middle of a huge ocean with no land in sight and you can't even see the sky?
But then she found it, the solution. It was a special little gadget that travelers have been using for hundreds and hundreds of years to find their way. She learned all about the magnetic compass. And this amazing little tool is so cool because it doesn't need the sun or the stars. Nope, it uses the secret power of a magnet to always point north. And that's when Reshma had this big realization. She'd seen magnets everywhere. You know, holding her pencil box closed, sticking drawings up on the fridge, but she never really thought about how they worked. What is that invisible force?
So her first question was a pretty simple one. What kind of stuff does a magnet actually stick to? Does it stick to everything?
So here's secret number one. Some things, like this key made of iron, are pulled in by the magnet's invisible power. They just snap right onto it. But when she tried it on other things, like a plastic ruler or a wooden pencil, nothing. Not a thing. It was like the magnet's force didn't even notice they were there.
And this brings us to a really important idea. We have a special name for the things that do stick to magnets. We call them magnetic materials. Iron is the one you see most often, but there are a few others, like nickel and cobalt.
Okay, so we know magnets stick to certain things. That's cool. But how does that help a bunch of lost sailors find their way home? Let's figure it out.
To understand the direction thing, we first have to figure out where the magnet's special pulling power is actually coming from. Is it all over the magnet, or is it stronger in certain spots?
And check this out. This picture gives us the answer. See what happens when you sprinkle these tiny bits of iron, called iron filings, all over a magnet? They don't stick everywhere. They all bunch up right at the two ends.
And these two special super strong ends have a name. They're called the poles of the magnet. And every single magnet has two of them, a north pole and a south pole.
And this, right here, this is the magnet's biggest secret. If you let a magnet hang and spin freely, like on a piece of string, it will always stop spinning in the exact same direction. One end will point north and the other will point south. Every time.
So why does it do that? Well, get ready for this, because it's awesome. The reason it works is that our whole planet, planet Earth, is basically one giant magnet. The Earth has its own north and south poles, and it's gently pulling on that little magnet, lining it up perfectly. And that's exactly how a compass works.
All right, so a magnet can feel the pull from our giant Earth magnet. But what happens if you bring two regular small magnets close to each other? Well, it all comes down to a very simple but very powerful rule. Opposite poles pull together, but poles that are the same, they push apart. We call the pulling attraction, and the pushing repulsion. Just remember, opposites attract and likes repel. So for instance, if you try to push a north pole toward another north pole, you can actually feel an invisible force pushing back. It's like they're saying, nope, get away from me. We call that push-away force repulsion. But if you flip one of those magnets around and bring a north pole near a south pole, something totally different happens. They leap across the space and snap together. That pull-together force, that's attraction. So now that you know the secrets of attraction, repulsion, and our planet's giant magnetic field, you have everything you need to become a magnet explorer yourself. And this is just the coolest thing. You can actually make your very own simple compass, just like those sailors used a long time ago. All it takes is a needle, a magnet, a piece of cork, and a little bowl of water. When you stroke the needle with the magnet, you actually turn the needle into its own tiny magnet. There are so many fun experiments you can try with this invisible power. You can make things float, you can move things through a maze without even touching them, or you can do magic tricks, like pulling a paperclip right out of a glass of water without getting your fingers wet. So the force is with you now.
Go out and explore the amazing world of magnets. I mean, just think about it. From the tiny motors in your toys to giant trains that literally float on air, magnets are everywhere. So what amazing thing will you discover, or maybe even invent, next?